Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu, my telly main. Is that
you? We back like we never left.
This is episode 301 of Mic Check Waifu. I gotta get used to saying 301 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu. It's where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. It's where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story. It's where you can get access to 301's pre-show. It's up 2 days before this episode goes live for everybody else. Make sure you check that out over on Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu. We couldn't do this without the Patreon producer. Shout out to Christian, the archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Fear, Ked the Pro from Chaotic Culture podcast, Explicitly All for One Matt, Matthew H, Monique Williams, Simi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last, but certainly not least, our guy, T Money Fingers. Thank you so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We couldn't do it without you guys supporting us. Thank you so much. It means the world to us. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like the YouTube video. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to, wherever you have the opportunity to rate the podcast 5 stars for us, it means a lot. Help us out a lot. We're getting us to more ears. So thank you so much for doing that. And those that have done it, we appreciate that. It means everything to us. Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast. It's brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. And we bring you seasonal topics and discussions. And this week is no different. Very special week for you this week. But as we always do, start every episode off with our sleepers. My tellionaire, what is your sleeper?
We're not doing sleepers. We're doing episode of the week.
What am I doing? Episode of the week.
Hey. My episode of the week, very cut and dry, very simple. We're just going to go with To Be Hero X because every week has been phenomenal. And this week, to say the least, has been exemplary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hard to deny that. I'm going to go with
there's some great episodes this week. This is
a lot of great episodes. A lot of great episodes. It's always, always after that midpoint where these episodes kind of like pop off. And I can go many different places here, but I'm going to go with my sleeper, Summer Pockets.
Let's go.
Which was a fantastic episode. It was well written, I should say. Fantastic wouldn't be the word I would use, but we're going to talk about that in the summer, in the spoiler half of the show.
Has some duality to it.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's not bad as in it was just a bad episode of an anime. I digress. I'm not going to speak on it anymore until spoiler talk. Anyway, let's get started with today's topic. So, today I got some inspiration.
Yeah.
From just looking at thoughts online about this spring anime season, anime 2025 spring. I want to talk about how at the beginning of this season, we talked about how it didn't seem like it was going to be much of a new type of season, right? Or we wouldn't find a bunch of new shows because there were a lot of returning things that we were ultra mega excited about, or shows that we thought that were going to just be spectacular. Okay.
Right.
So we got some major releases this season. However, the shows that were hyped this spring season versus the reality we got for these shows, it kind of wraps around what we talked about last week with our anime midterms on some of the shows that we thought that were going to be, that was extremely hyped, not only by ourselves but our community as well, and how they turned out in reality. I.e., example, Lazarus, i.e. example, I think the only one that maybe or at the beginning after the end, another example is of hype versus reality. But I think another one that subverted or that probably matched the expectations that was given from the community was My Hero Vigilantes, right?
Yeah.
That would probably be the only one that people were like, anticipating being good and people think is good. But I kind of wanted to just talk about, the hype of the shows versus what we got in reality.
Okay.
First off, let's talk about, you want to talk about some community sleepers? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do an update on our community sleepers. These are sleeper picks that our community chose. And obviously we're not going to have something to say on all of these because we're not watching every last one of y'all sleepers, but we just want to get like a gauge on where y'all sit at with y'all sleepers. So feel free to write in on the episode on the forum. Make sure you join the Discord. There's a forum that we're going to have of this episode. And you can share your thoughts there. We can maybe even share them the following week, but I just want to get the thoughts on their sleepers if we're watching them and how we feel. So starting with community sleepers, let's talk about Crystals. Zatsu Tabi, we're not really watching it. That's her jam. According to her grade though, last week, she does enjoy it. She says it's cute, it's wholesome, and it's a nice, easy watch for her. So we're gonna let her have that. But starting going to TK. TK does nothing. He says Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman is his sleeper picks. And he also chose Lazarus. I think we forced him to choose one. Mm-hmm. And I think because Country Bumpkin was first, we're going to let that be his sleeper.
Yeah, we're going to let that ride. I think that's the best choice right there.
This one was actually more hyped than like a normal show was. Like our community was extremely excited for it.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Country Bumpkin is an enjoyable watch every week.
How did you feel about it before though, coming into it?
I feel like I had high expectations because of what it is. You know what I mean? I feel like these have been hitting well for us almost every time. You know what I mean? And I can't even say I hate to say it, but there are story elements in this because like the story kind of changes episode to episode. Yeah. But the way that they kind of give us these like little bits and pieces and parcels of story, they're actually pretty decent story concepts that if they were put into a broader aspect, they could either be more subject to failing, or they could actually be really good, right? So it's almost like they give us this taste of these multiple different types of storylines they could give and not over committing to it, which makes it almost like this variety show that is simple yet enjoyable. You know what I mean?
What a great way of putting it. A variety show is extremely a great way of putting it because this episode, most recent episode, we had kind of like slice of life moment here, and which was neat, which was cool. Yeah, for me, Country Bumpkin, I feel like was going to be like something like I Parry Everything. So my expectations was kind of in the middle of the road. I didn't expect it to be too great, or I didn't expect it to be terrible either. I expected it to be right in the middle, and it exceeded that expectation for me once I turned on the sub. Because I will say this again, we're not sub dub elitists. We've never, since we started this podcast, we had never been, because I used to be a dub only guy at the beginning of the podcast, but I digress. This one is so much more enjoyable with just a little bit of emotion, because to be fair, I don't even think the sub is that much emotionally charged, but because I don't understand the language, it just feels better to watch. So
it's easier to involve yourself emotionally.
Exactly. So outside of the voice acting being terrible, and that goes to, because I think this was announced to be day and date dubbed before it came out, so I was excited about that. But in reality, the dub is absolute no-go for this show. Like it's an absolute no-go. So other than that, I'm happy to say that it definitely exceeded my expectations though. So the hype was there. my level of hype was kind of tempered though, which led it to be a much more enjoyable show. I was watching it today. I'm like, oh, I like this. This is nice. Our guy J. Colt, a Patreon supporter of ours, his sleeper was Kowloon, Generic Romance, which has probably had zero expectations from us or anybody.
I had no expectations on there. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I mean, I thought you had a little bit of interest in it. Now I'm not gonna say a lot, right? Because I feel like you were at that like middle to like slightly closer to the higher end because of what it was given. Yeah, but
interest and hype is, I think, a little two different things, right?
No,
like showing interest is always gonna happen with this line of work,
right? Now, hype. I don't think we really were hype about it, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you this real quick.
Yeah.
Let's get intimate. I enjoy this.
Man.
I enjoy this a lot. And let me tell you another thing. I feel like all the characters in here are almost getting near and dear to my heart. I have no disdain or dislike for any character. There was one character that I was not okay with at first, the Orochimaru-esque character. I always hate the Orochimaru kind of characters when they fit that paradigm, right? I love this one. I feel like it's levels of duality to every character in this show. It's so well written. It has exceeded every expectation I've had.
I'm smiling right now because I didn't want to do this 3 weeks in a row, or is it 2 weeks in a row? I think this will be the second week in a row. Forgive me, Crystal, but the fact that you're not watching this one as well is crazy.
Jump on Crystal head for that.
Because this also has boys love in it, and we know how she feel about that. So like,
it's not necessarily boys love. Let's be.
No, it is. It's just it most certainly is, but it's just shocking that she doesn't have this one on our list. Very much shocked. So I'm sorry, Crystal, to call you out again.
Go ahead and do the binge, drop it in the Discord so we can go ahead and laugh and talk with you.
Yes, I can't wait to see that one as well. It's just so Crystal that I'm like, how, you know?
Yeah, this is one is probably going to go down as, I mean, for me, right? And I'm only going to say this because I really had no expectations, but for me, it's kind of the most interesting one that I feel like we have, for me. And I say that because while I absolutely love shows like To Be Hero X and whatnot, what this one actually is, and the level of intrigue, confusion, and like just the overall dynamic to it that it provides, it is, to me, it has the highest ceiling. Now, having the highest ceiling,
I disagree.
Means that, okay, that's just my opinion, but I'm saying it has the highest ceiling. But that also to me means that it could fail heavy if something is like just one thing poorly written. So it means it has the highest capacity to fail. But I think it has like a high level of intrigue for me that nothing else is giving me quite as good as this one.
So I kind of disagree, but I kind of agree. And hear me out when I say this, because you were on to something when you said this does have the highest ceiling to be one of the best written shows for sure. But like you said, the fall can be catastrophic by one mistake. And I'm going to say this now, as good as it's been, I'm not too keen on the information we received. And I'm going to speak on that maybe on the spoiler half of this talk, on the spoiler half of the show. So stick around to after the music break to listen to that on this one. Because there's something I got a off feeling this most recent episode, but it's just a personal bias, I guess, but I digress. Not bad. All right. So now this one is a little bit different. This one has some excitement to it because of what it looked like and what our community is based off. So both T Moneyfingers and Dad Needs to Talk, sleepers, and they're both Patreon producers, so shout out to them. They're both of their sleeper picks were The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. Oh, it's also Huey TJ's Brilliant Healer's Life. Almost missed that. Yeah. So Huey TJ, Dad Needs to Talk podcast, and T Money Fingers. Now, the hype was there.
Yeah.
I think. Why would I say the hype was there? Now, wrong way of using healing magic, I think, is the reason why this one accrued so much hype. Because wrong way of using healing magic turned out to be goated. Not goated per se. I'm being hyperbolic, but really, really good that season that came out. So expectations were set that seems like it'll be something decent, especially according to the synopsis. But in reality, what do we get? How do we feel about what we got? I think and to me, in my personal opinion, I think it exceeded the expectations I had. Does it meet the hype that it got? I don't think so.
I kind of, and that does kind of suck, right? Because some when we put certain shows in these categories, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We had Redo of Healer, which while I think it was a
wait.
Anime,
why do we bring up Redo?
Just listen to me. We had Redo of Healer, which is a crazy anime, but it did have some intriguing things in it, right? There was like you said previously, the wrong way to use healing magic, which was tremendous for what we were expecting it to be. And then you get this, which because it has something like that as a predecessor, it does kind of, it may just be us because of what we're doing in our community. It kind of bolsters the expectation for it. But I think it's great. And I do really, really enjoy this character. And I like where they're heading with this new episode where we got with
I agree.
The elite healers and how that is even going. Even knowing like that they're not quite the same, even though they're both kind of elite, right? It's a really cool concept. And I do think, I would like to say it exceeded expectations. Because while you never really expect a lot, it definitely gave us so much for what it could be expected of it.
I think this one was expected a lot of, though.
Really?
Amongst our community, yeah. I mean, three people has the same sleeper. That's not quite usual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the way it was talked about during that episode, which is we're referring to episode 293 of the podcast. So if you wanted to go back and listen to that episode, we would welcome that for sure. But that's our preview episode. So, the way they talked about it seemed like it was, it brought a little hype, a little excitement.
Yeah.
I won't say a little. It was a lot of excitement. I think our community was extremely excited. It definitely exceeded my expectations. I think it's a good show, even great. I just don't think it matched the hype that it got from our community. I could be wrong. Maybe they expected a little bit less. Maybe they expected even more than what they got. They'll let us know, and we'll talk about it in the next episode. But yeah, it is what it is. Moving on to our other guy, Frozen.
Oh goodness,
Frozen, Patreon producer, our guy.
So sorry.
I'm so sorry, Frozen. His sleeper pick was the beginning after the end, and I crowned it as probably one of the best sleeper picks you could possibly choose. Because I believe that to be true. Because of what I read.
Some things, sometimes you just can't believe what you read.
This should be the cover art for this episode of Hype versus Reality. Because including myself, our other producer, Christian the Archivist, we hyped this one up. We hyped this one up because we read it. And that is our own fault. Particularly, I'm gonna push shit on me because I'm not that much of a reader. So when I read something and get as excited about it as I was, I should have known better. I know now, but
I'm gonna take some of the shit off of Polo because you don't deserve that, right? Hear me out. You don't deserve that. It's the same with and I say this in reference to, right? Promised Neverland, how I hyped it up, especially for that second season. I was like, Goldie Pond is going to be so good, bro. You have no idea. It's going to be the best arc.
What a great example.
That you ever. It's going to be the best, right? And they just completely skip over it. Don't even show it. And then do a whole different ending and everything. And I'm not saying that this is exactly that, but the ball was dropped in so many different ways that if you put LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar all on the same team, you're not getting a ring. This show did itself no justice. No justice whatsoever, bro.
And I feel bad for being one of the ones to champion it because I should have known better.
Yeah, and it's not your fault though. You know what I mean? It's not your fault because arguably, imagine if Solo Leveling came out. What are we gonna do? What are we going to do?
We gonna hype it.
If Solo Level came out, we would hype it, and then imagine if they went with this studio. Not to say that this studio couldn't do a better job, but it seems like they couldn't do a better job. And
I say all that to say.
That's what makes it worse. Is that like,
it hurts. It actually hurts.
The potential there was there.
Yeah. And this is the first, because again, I am not a graphics whore. I use that term as a lack of a better term, but I'm not a graphics whore. The animation doesn't have to be spectacular. It don't. It really don't. It could have moved. That's it. I mean, like if it just moved, if the show moved at all, I would be happy. But it's literally a flip book that Tell made in high school that this turned into.
My flip book would have been better.
You're probably right. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how disappointing it is because for the first time ever, the animation of a show affected its story delivery quality to me. I think it truly does detract from what the story is and is going to continue to be because there's a lot of great moments. I mean, I think they should be at the part now where he's a little bit older, his adventurer arc. Which is so good in oh my god, it's so good in the manga. It is spectacular in the manga, and I'm talking like this is when the art style changes and becomes what the beginning after the end is now, opposed to like a beginner's web comic that it was at the very beginning when he was younger. So maybe make sure you read it because this is the part where it gets crazy. But the show, I mean, I'm not caught up, so I guess I can't really speak to it. To be specific, I am exactly
4 episodes behind.
Yes, that's exactly right. 4 episodes behind.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, Frozen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but here we are. Here we are.
Did not live up to the hype.
No, definitely. Reality was
kicking his ass.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on. TCB. Once Upon a Time, A Wish's Death. This was, he's the only one that picked this sleeper. This was dropped after episode 1 for me because it seemed to be extremely predictable. This wasn't hyped at all. Yeah.
I had no expectations for this when I watched it.
Yeah, same.
And even now, I do plan on finishing it, but only maybe I'm gonna do like a binge since I don't have anything else to really watch. I guess this season isn't really thick.
No,
I don't mind binging through like 6 episodes, catching up, and then just saying, oh yeah, this is solid as a binge because I feel like it might be better that way. But I will say, this one is not my type of anime.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my type of anime, but do I want to put it on my belt and say I just finished it just for the year to say I watched some stuff? Yeah, I'll probably do that.
Give it a try, yeah. And that's what I do. Like when it comes to there's gaps in seasons where there's nothing left and everything is finished in the previous season, to where you could go back and kind of wrap up some shows in your list. And again, this one had no expectations. This one I had no hype around it. It was a slight hype after the first episode in our Discord. So that's what I'm a reference, but that quickly fell. It no longer gets any conversation whatsoever. I think after like episode 2 or 3, it just didn't exist to anybody anymore. So
it died out.
We say all that to say, nothing else needs to be said. Now, moving on to another one of our producers, All For One Matt. His choice was Lazarus. Brother. Lazarus was his choice.
Great pick.
It's also our guy Rob Stones, another producer of ours, very frequent commenter on our YouTube channel. So, yeah, this one's not great. According to them, it's not like they even agree. Because normally, maybe I'm like, maybe we're just jaded. You know, we're old. very seasoned, quote unquote, anime watchers now. We got like more than 1,000 anime under our belt. Again, that's shows, not episodes. So, maybe we're just a little jaded. But nah, this one's rough, man. This is a graphic showcase, as I call it, because it looks great. It's a beautiful show, and it was hyped to all hell because everybody saw that trailer. The fucking trailer won. The trailer won. It raised everybody's expectations, except for Mods. I feel like I was still timid. I was like, trailer's nice, but it's an Adult Swim original. So, last time we got one of those, it was Ninja Kamui, so I don't want to, hey. And then everybody's like, oh, but the director, the guy from Cowboy Bebop is directly involved in this one. That means it's going to be great.
Yeah. And
that's the worst part about it is the direction. Sorry.
The plot on this show is about as good as Black Dynamite's plot.
Whoa, what a cut.
It's trash.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like there's no real rhyme or reason. Not to say, and you might like Black Dynamite. I'm not saying anything it's not good. There's no real rhyme or reason. And there's supposed to be a rhyme or reason, but it's just not there.
Nope.
Like why haven't they put the pieces together? And granted, they may very well do so. This is another one that I plan on finishing later, solely because of like this has got to be a better binge. Once they get past all the fluff and the running around trying to look cute and sexy and shit. Once we get past all of that, it's probably going to be phenomenal. Yeah, hear me out. You said, it's a graphical showcase. It's a sound design wonder. The pacing and plot and characters are garbage. I really just want to get to the point. The point of it is going to be the last 3 episodes. I guarantee it. The last 3 episodes are going to be the only really good episodes.
What's the word I was going to... What was I going to use? You can't spray perfume on shit and expect it to smell better. Exactly. So what I'm saying is, you're saying that it could be amazing. No, if it's just not written well.
I used the wrong words.
If it's not written well, it's not going to be amazing. And
I used the wrong words. I agree. It's not going to ever be amazing. You know what I mean? Because if how many episodes is it? 24, 12, something like that.
12.
It's 12 episodes.
I think.
If you have 3 good 13 episodes, you still failed. You know what I mean? That we've agreed on. If half of your episodes are trash, you still failed.
Sure.
You might have still surprised us. Like we bring this up again. Love Flops. To me, it was not a good anime, but it has some surprises in there, and it gets notoriety for that. Lazarus will not, because you came through and set expectations for majority of us. I'm not gonna say Polo. We're not gonna throw Polo into the expectation field. And even me, I wasn't necessarily like super stoked for it, but I did think that it would be better than this. Yeah. And it did not carry with its expectations whatsoever.
No, honestly, even I don't think it even just from the 3 alone. Because again, there's moments in the 3rd episode by itself that's like, come on, bro. There's like, it's right in front of your fucking, like, it's under your nose, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, everything you're saying and doing in this show, you're this tactical force. It just don't, and none of it works. So in order for you to get that to work, you got to come through some extreme hoops to make that fit, to coalesce it, to bring it together, and it won't turn out to be good. No matter how you spin it, because of those few episodes where it's like, yo, what the, like, everything is so fucked up that to put it together, it won't make sense, regardless of what you do.
Right. The characters can be smart, right? But logic would make the show end too early, because the show would be over if they were logical.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why it's bad.
Very valid point. And they're not smart. That's the problem. But I digress. Let us know what y'all feel about that offer one, Matt Robstone. Sorry, we should have factored in Kilo. Kilo's sleeper was also from Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman.
I thought you said that.
I missed it. No, because that was TK's. Okay. No, didn't add Kilo to that. category, but we already talked about that. Christian the Archivist was Rock is a Lady's Modesty. Not for me. I didn't watch it. Oh, so was Fears. Fears as well.
I have it on my list to check out. Like I said, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. This next week, I'm just gonna start watching all of these things. All the ones I have left on my list, I'm just gonna watch them since I don't have a ton of stuff to watch, and we finished Log Horizon.
Yeah.
I can spend time watching these, so I'll probably do that then.
Yeah. So that's it for those. Now let's go to the most anticipated, particularly ours. This is great. This is going to be great. So the most anticipated for us was Fire Force Season 3. Hype was fucking at what's the tallest building in the world?
What is it called? Burj Khalifa?
It was the top floor of that. That was the hype because we finished season 1 rewatch. We finished season 2 rewatch. Those two were absolutely spectacular. Incredible seasons of anime, period. And season 3 starts and we put down 7 now at this point. And reality. This don't feel like Fire Force. And by what I mean by that is it's Fire Force, right? Characters, fighting, animation, beautiful. All that stuff is great. But the writing just don't work for me because of what Fire Force was and then what it is now. Like the whole Empire and White Clad thing is just, it feels like something to have in a show of an anime, just to have that moment in a show of an anime. You know what I'm saying? Like they created a moment that they didn't need to create just to have this moment where it's just essentially, and I'm slight spoilers, but essentially a war of essentially basic good and evil now. And it don't feel good the way we got to this point, which is very un-Fire Force-like when it comes to the writing.
In the beginning of Fire Force Season 3, beginning of this season, Polo had an off feeling.
Mm-hmm. My God, something ain't feeling right.
And I was willing to let it cook. Like, give them a chance. They haven't failed us with the writing yet.
Yeah.
I must say, I've been very disappointed with this season.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I feel strongly disconnected from Fire Force.
Me too. For the first time ever.
Yeah, disconnected.
I love that intro though.
Like, yeah, the intro is fire. Yeah, the kids love it too. But I have a hard time watching it, and there's still intriguing things in the show. There's still intriguing things, but it's like the writing is almost bland.
It don't feel right, man. It just don't feel right at all. Like even with this I'm not gonna spoil anything, but even with this most recent episode, the way it came about didn't feel like Fire Force. Like, yes, we know, but
it could have to do with the fact the way that they're going to pace this season, right? The way they're going to split it up and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It could have to do with that, but I'm not even going to lie to you. I can't give them the benefit of the doubt because of the fact of like Attack on Titan. Mm-hmm. I can't give you the benefit of the doubt. I gotta let you know that this season 3 has not been great. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't care how they wrap it up because it's like I don't mean to say like I don't care as in like I'm no longer interested. I'm still very much interested. But in terms of like how I'm going to grade this portion of the season, as of right now, this is a flop. And I hate to say that, is this going to be the first time I say Fire Force has a very bad season? This is a bad season for me. This is a bad season. I can't give it a pass.
I should have hit the antagonist button for you. Gave you that 3 minutes and 25 seconds to pop off. Yeah. No, you're on the money. Again, let me just specify here. We understand that Fire Force still looks great. We understand Fire Force still sounds great. I would even go as far as to say the characters are still phenomenal. Like this hasn't been an Attack on Titan situation to where season 3 they become bland pieces of cardboard or stale graham crackers because their whole personality changes in a way that is not of growth but of what's the opposite of growth? Regression.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. but it's bad in the sense of like everything that when episode 1 started, the way it started was the best parts about it was the recaps.
Right.
But then when everything started to progress and go, and people were, it's the first episode, so I can say this, but White Class started walking into the army bases and fucking grabbing and walking in to Fire Force Company's bases and just, we're just so fine with it. We're going to not attack because everything just felt off from that point. From that point on, it felt weird. Now it's just this, again, it's a big moment they just want to have in the show to just have it in the show. It feel like, I want to get some hate for this, but it feel like somebody from Hunter x Hunter came in and wrote this piece where it's just they wanted a moment. They want to have this grandiose moment right now, and it don't feel right. It just don't feel right whatsoever.
I want to ask, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm not. I was done.
But I want to ask for anyone who's read Fire Force, is this like canon? Is this exactly how it's happening in the manga? And not without as far away from spoilers as possible, obviously, bro. But or TCB, now as far away from spoilers as possible. But is that true to how it was written? And I only ask that because Soul Eater has so many deviations from the actual, manga, that people often spoke out about how it was just different. The characters didn't even feel the same. So I do wonder. Yeah,
like, are we missing some context?
Yeah, is there something that we need to read and understand this better?
That's a good question.
Because it's like it just doesn't feel accurate to what we received in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, man. It's such a strange feeling to say that about one of our favorite series. It hurts, but we gotta be who we are,
It's not what I expected. Now I would like to say this though.
Please do.
Windbreaker season 2.
Take the tail away. The hype was on the same floor as Fire Force.
They did not shit the bed. They ain't breaking wind. They made sure that this season was cooking.
No, this season
is season 2.
This is probably the best season 2 of anything I've ever watched, probably so far.
It is so emotionally charged.
Yep. And we had less fighting this season, which is crazy. Whoa, yeah. So far.
And I'm okay with that.
Me too.
I'm so okay with it because this show, talk about showcases like Lazarus, right? This show is a showcase for character development and how to show effectively, right? How to show what characters need for progression. This show has been insane. How to demonstrate a new character and make them feel important immediately. This show is insane. It does such a good job of introducing these moments. Sometimes, let me tell you, I have forgotten to breathe watching some of these moments in this show, but I'm not going to lie to you. I have literally
absolutely
I can't
breathtaking
believe what I'm watching. It has been amazing. I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And this, I'm not going to say it because I know Rob's still is 2 episodes behind and he's watching the dub. I can't say it. Fuck. I can say it. One of my favorite video games of all time is Yakuza. And what's happening now is literally, it feels like the beginning of that. And I'm just looking forward to what this is about to turn into. But I will say, like, unbelievable writing. Writing. We had a fight in the first 2 episodes, 3 maybe. And we on episode 7, and it's been virtually none since. But pure character development.
Quick spats here and there.
Yeah. Unbelievable writing. How, like, again, this goes back to what I always say. Again, I hate bringing up something I heard from Twitter because Twitter is a fucking cesspool. But people just referring to, you can't expect good story from a shonen or some bullshit take that I just obviously don't agree with. But don't expect anything more from a shonen. Some bullshit. You can expect more because you can get more with Windbreaker. Windbreaker is living proof of that. It's living proof that you can get more than just good fight action scenes and whatever the hell they do. Windbreaker is spectacular. It's been the perfect series. This season is probably a 10 out of 10. I think we gave Windbreaker season 1 like a 9-8. This is so far has been a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, bro.
Music, everything.
Yeah, it has been that. It has been far. I feel like it exceeded my expectations.
100%. And it was in our expectations was on that top floor with Fire Force.
Yeah, it was super high, and it has done nothing but exceed my expectations, because I feel like coming off of what was season 1, 2, 3 days to come to this and virtually get the amount of information development and just world building, character building so quickly but efficiently. Yeah, bro. I don't feel like there's anything doing it like that, man. Mm-mm. This has been a great season 2. Like, you think about sequels to movies, you rarely get a sequel that's that good, bro. That sequel's been amazing.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I think the only movie series that sequentially got better, in my personal opinion, was John Wick.
Yeah.
But
my teen romantic comedy.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But
that's another one.
Feel me? Just feel me real quick. This has been that kind of good.
100%.
Like, this is, I would say, even exceeds that.
100%. All right, and another thing, last thing we were super excited for that we talked about on our preview episode was Shoshimin season 2, expectations versus reality. Now, what I expected from Shoshimin season 2 was more of the same. It was great. Season 1 was great. It was my sleeper that the time it came out. It turned out to be fantastic. I loved it. Now for season 2, my expectations were for me to get the same shit, get the same feeling. But I got a different feeling. But it's on the same level as what I got from season 1. So it is more of the same. Great TV show. Particular anime.
So hear me out, and I don't want to. When I say this, just listen to what I got to say. Shoshimin season 1 for me, I don't think we actually talked about it enough.
Yeah, even though we talked about it a lot.
I don't think we talked about it enough.
True.
Shoshimin season 2, I don't think we talk about it enough.
Yeah.
I think Shoshimin season 2 has been better in almost every regard than season 1. And I say that because season 1, I didn't feel so emotionally connected, but I was very intrigued. Season 2, I feel like it's giving me this, like, not only am I kind of pissed off, but I'm also like loving the character relationships and the interactions. Like how they interact. When by relationships, I mean how the characters interact and how the world just leaves you with the level of intrigue, because they've built more into the actual surrounding cast now.
Yeah. And
it's so interesting. And then visually
it's always been great.
It's cinematic, but without going overboard. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need this because animation is great, all right, straight, but it doesn't need like this high, super dialed in animation. The way that it looks has this very cinematic view, but it's also because of the angle or the ratio they're using. And then the audio with it is so good, and it does this really good job of making these moments where they're doing this dialogue. It does a good job of making it feel almost imposing that you have to listen to it. You have to be dialed in. Shoshimin season 2 to me exceeded my expectations from season 1. I'm not getting the same. I don't think it's the same. I think it's better for me. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I disagree. I think they're both the same, but in different aspects, right? Completely. It's an inverted way of telling a story intentionally, right? Rightfully so, because they're trying to show different sides of essentially the same coin. So it's the same, but in my opinion, I do think it could have been better if a particular character was developed better You know what I mean? And that's why that's the only reason why it doesn't get better for me. It gets worse. I hate regression of characters in anything, not just anime, video games, TV shows, life. I hate the regression of character, and I got that this season. And I don't think it was in an oppressive way.
Okay.
I think it was in a way that was, you know, we could talk about that in spoiler talk, but it's just like, you can't really talk about this one without going into some sense of spoiler, especially since this is a season 2. Yeah. So we're going to save that for the spoiler talk. But yeah, if you haven't watched Shoshimin, it's one of the best fucking mystery shows easily. Like, it's so good. It's just that good. Very cinematic, very beautiful, like Tel said.
Why is it so low key?
I know, it doesn't get talked about at all unless you listen to this podcast. But yeah, it's unbelievable. It's so good. All right, and then to go to one or two shows that it didn't get talked about, it didn't get any hype, 2 shows in particular. I'm going to start with the show that we're reviewing at the end of the season, and that's To Be Perfect Saint, or Too Perfect Saint. I think it's To Be Perfect Saint. I gotta go to it.
The Too Perfect Saint.
Yeah, the Too Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiance and sold to another kingdom. This was one that wasn't on anybody's radar. Nobody was a sleeper for. Shout out to Crystal for finally picking it up. Her dialogue and Discord thread for the show was fantastic. Just watching her go through episode through episode and just say what she had to say just felt so good to see. But this is just one of those shoujos that we were reviewing at the end of the season that is just spectacular. It is just so good. And right when I said this in the Discord, but right when I think the show hit its peak, it exceeds it more. I'm like, yo, how is it going to get better than what we just got this last episode? And then it gets better than that the following week. So it definitely had zero hype. And so easy to say that it exceeded those expectations thoroughly. So good, man. So many characters. It's not like Log Horizon, so many characters, but it's so many characters that you can still root for or not root for as you're supposed to. And it's a show that really, like, I like her thought process, or I like her thought process, or I like his thought process, and it just goes well. It flows well. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that, and I'll say it exceeded my expectations, for the sole purpose of the fact that, like, you never know how good a show like this can be, and I was only expecting something like smooth and simple and enjoyable to watch. Just like the Saints Magic Powers Omnipotent. You know what I mean? I was just expecting hopefully an easy watch, something easy, just throw on the list. And when I tell you, this is exactly that, but with engagement.
Yes, you know what I mean? Man. Yes. Well said.
Because the characters keep developing, because we get like these revelations, and like you get characters who want to get back, and you get characters who are finally getting love. This show has been a pleasure to watch. Yeah.
And then was on nobody's radar. Was picked up on the one by Teliano. But it ended up becoming extremely popular within the broader space of anime. And that's To Be Hero X. Yeah, this is I saw something. I saw something that said, I think it was like a YouTube thumbnail or something like that. Because usually when I log on to our Mike Check Waifu YouTube, they show just a bunch of anime videos. And this guy says, when somebody joins the bandwagon to an anime, and it had a picture of somebody screaming, To Be Hero X is goated. Wow, that is indeed true. This one had no hype. Nobody knew shit about this. And for those that want to pretend like they did, don't lie. We know you didn't. Nobody had anything on this one at all. And this one came out of nowhere and punched us all in the face. It's
right
spectacular.
In the face. And I'm not going to lie to you. I made the first video I saw about this. I was like, why is no one talking about To Be Hero X? And I'm pretty sure there was somebody out there who said something about it, who the creator said something and was like, hey, you got it. It just, nobody cared. Nobody cared. But let me tell you, bro, this has been, obviously it's been my episode of the week every week except for 1 week. You know what I mean? This has been mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's been spectacular every week.
It's one of those shows that I'm very surprised at the production value, and then for it to not be more hyped and what.
No, it is. It is all dog. It's all over the place after like episode 2.
Yeah, now 100% because I feel like arguably it deserved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for us to have no hype for it, no one knew about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This has been one of those ones. It's got a bag and it's in it.
Yeah, 100%. And this is one of the shows where rarely I feel like it would have to take an extreme, like there's no way it could take an extreme nosedive and fail. But then again, look at Fire Force. So, and again, maybe I'm being hyperbolic while saying that because it's a little recency bias, but you know, I don't think it can. I don't think it will. I should say per se, because of the consistency of the writing that has been within this show. It's just been way too good. You would have to like literally draw Doodle Man or something like that and make it the main character.
Doodle Bob,
yeah, that's his name. All right, so let's wrap this up with looking ahead, right? Let's talk about the potential of some shows, and particularly let's talk about the potential of the most anticipated shows. Now, the potential looking ahead, could Fire Force be better, Till? Could it still could it turn itself around within, it has, for this particular part of season 3, it has 12 episodes and we're on 7.
It could turn itself around, but it's still going to be a fail for a season. You know what I mean? In my opinion, like it could turn itself around. These last, episodes have to, for it to not be a flop, in my opinion, they have to be phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like they gotta literally get in it and give us everything that we missed. And I would almost say they would have to deviate away from the action almost entirely. And I hate to say that. I agree. Because I do like the action in Fire Force, but they gotta really get into what's the next part of the story here for me.
The who and the why.
Yeah, because like I want to see what's really shaking y'all up to make y'all act like this, and I want to see.
Couldn't agree more.
I want to feel that presence, just like they do. And it could be, because we're at a point that is seemingly turning away from the action orientation after this most recent episode. But are they going to start giving us what some of us desire? Because most people might desire exactly what they're giving them. But I feel like what I desire is I need some deposition. I need some talking.
Yes, man.
Some words.
Yes. Some words to explain this unheard of switch within this show. That is unbelievable. All right, looking ahead. Let's look ahead at, could To Be Hero X fall and fail completely? As I just stated, my personal opinion, no. But Tell, what do you think?
I agree. I think it would be extremely hard. Now, we do know that they are no longer going to do the 3D, 2D switch for temporary. It's going to be temporary.
Yeah.
So I don't think this next part is going to have the 3D, 2D switch. But I don't think that's what's selling the show. You know what I mean? Correct. I think the 2D animation that they had given us was amazing. And I think that if the handoff stays with that same level of 2D animation, that is going to be amazing. But that's not what's selling me on the show. You know what I mean? The animation is good. What's selling me on the show, though, is what's actually happening in the show. Yeah. Contextually, I don't even need, and I hate to say it, right? I almost feel like if the beginning after the end was hitting us with this kind of storyline, then it would be different. But also, this was a surprise, so I guess that's different.
Yes, but different.
They definitely just need to have a bare minimum decent kind of animation, like to make it continuously stay with the same 2D they had. I can't see it failing.
Yeah, so the thing with that is I think, and this might sound crazy to some people, but I think the animation is the least interesting part about the show. I truly do. Like, it's fine, it's great, don't get me wrong, it's top tier, it's some of the best, almost arcane level, but that's neither here nor there. That's not what makes the show what the show is, in my opinion. Exactly. Oh, now most people won't agree with that because they're more about the animation, the action, and that shit like that. But I'm more about the characters and the writing. For them to do a character switch in the middle of a season of something where you grow to love one character and change it to a different character, and you grow to love that character, and it a little iffy, but we'll see. We'll talk about that in the spoiler half. But and then you can keep that up. That's spectacular penmanship. I don't give a fuck about what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, that's irrelevant at this point. So I say all that to say to transition perfectly into a Polo and Tailway segue. The beginning after the end. Now, can the beginning after the end flip? Hear me out. They changed it from 12 episodes, from 24 episodes to 12 now. Don't know what that means. Maybe they're going with a different studio after this debacle, but they switched from 24. It was going to be a 24 episode season down to 12. That, I just saw that just now on AniList. That says a whole lot.
That could be genius.
That says a whole lot. They could just completely rip up the contract with Studio A-Cat, which would be lovely. It has a 55% on AniList. So, Bill, in your opinion, looking ahead, what do you think?
If they do that, right? Let's say they are going to make a switch or just a quality of life improvement. Let's say they split it up and give us the rest of the season and give Studio A-Cat, even just give them more time to actually fully animate things.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have to interrupt. You can't say give them time to animate things because this has been their entire MO since they were fucking founded. They never did anything animated good.
I don't remember what they did, but either way, because you're right. They need to make a shift for the better of this show.
They did. I somehow got stronger when I improved my farm related skills. They did that. You remember how bad that was?
Yeah.
They did. The strongest magician was a demon lord. Whatever. That was bad.
It was animated better than this though.
Animated, because they just use CG though.
But I do think that stepping back, they've gotten enough feedback from this to say, scrap the contract. I don't even know why the studio would want to continue with this.
Studio A-Cat also has a show that Crystal Light gave a 5.5.
What was that?
She professed herself pupil of a wise man.
Yeah, so go ahead and scrap it and just
They did a lot of nothing.
Yeah. I would hate to see them cancel this show entirely because of how bad one studio did.
I would prefer it.
Entirely?
Yes. Just get rid of it. It's done. Make people read it at this point because it's so fucking awful. Because again, they didn't just change to the fact that it's a slideshow. They also changed some points in the show that was prominent in the manga or the manhwa or the webcomic that were important. They changed that shit. Like you changed one of the most important meats in the show and pissed everybody off because that meat was so important to his character. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So just let it go. Just fuck it. We'll just read it. You know? I think when it's done, I think you should pick it up. We should read it and talk about it, how we did solo leveling back in the day. Just maybe read 5 or so chapters at a time or something like that, how we did it. And talk about it deeply like that. But I don't think it can recover for my looking ahead. I just don't. unless they say, you know what, we're going to cancel this, get rid of the studio, and we're going to go with Wit or Cloverworks for the rest of it. Then my mind's changed. Then I'm coming back gleefully. But for now, no thank you. We're going to talk some more about this next week. Drop your thoughts in the episode form in the discord.miccheckwaifuwaifu.com, so you could be a part of the next week's show, so we could discuss it a little bit further. We are going to get to know Mic Check Waifu Waifu and take a quick break and go into spoiler talk. I think it's my turn to roll the number.
No, I think it's my turn to roll the number. Okay. I think.
Yeah, you might be right.
I got the number 40.
I don't have it pulled up.
I got it. I think I got it. All right. Let's see. What is the most obscure anime you've ever watched?
Ooh, what a great question. Most obscure. My list is so it's so hard to say because the list is so long. Most obscure meaning like the most, I don't think somebody's ever watched this show.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, man, that's a tough one. This list is so long. I have so many, Tell. This is unbelievable.
Nah, I think that's fair. Let's see, is she here?
Forgive me for not being quick, but
Nah, we both kind of all over the place with this one.
Could it be this one? Yeah, I'm gonna say Island.
Island?
Yeah. Hiroshima, an island, is far from the mainland. The people who live there lead carefree lives, but 5 years ago, the island's three great families suffered a series of misfortunes and succumbed to suspicion. The people of the island cut off all contact with the mainland and began to slow decline. The key to saving the island lies in three girls who belong to the three families, but they're bound by old traditions and conflicted on that island. A lone man washes ashore. That man claims to be the future and begins to solitarily struggle to change the island's fate. This one was all over the place. Was it good? No. But it was very unique, I should say. It wasn't good though.
I mean, if that's the case, I can say X-Arm, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say
when you finished.
I did finish.
I don't think you finished X-Arm.
I did finish X-Arm because it was for my 100.
Oh, okay.
That year I watched 100 anime and had them all documented. Nichijou, My Ordinary Life. Yeah. Nichijou, My Ordinary Life. Completely random. Just like Polo said, all over the place. I guarantee though, if I ever see anything that says that it's similar to this, I will never watch it.
That's how I feel about it.
It's a comedy, but I did not find any of it funny. It's a comedy slice of life.
But no, because let me take back, because I said I agree with you with the same thing with Island. No, I don't agree with that at all, because Island has, it has Summertime Rendering, it has Artery, Charlotte, When They Cry, Air, and Search of the Lost Future. Like all these shows are actually so I take that back.
Yeah. I don't think I could ever. Let me just check just to verify that. Yeah, I'm good. My dear friend Nokoten. It's about a deer. That's your dear friend.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I'm good on that one. I'm good on that. I don't think I could watch anything in the category of this ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Brandon. That's who recommended to me.
All right, we'll be right back after these. And welcome back to episode 2301 of Mic Check Waifu. Damn, I gotta remember to say 3 now. This is crazy. That's a lot of episodes.
We almost had a whole year's worth of episodes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Welcome to the spoiler half of the show. Remember, if you haven't watched To Be Hero X, Summer Pockets, Shoshimin, or Kowloon, please turn it off and come back when you do. Now, starting off with To Be Hero X, this is going to be episode 7 that we're going to discuss. Let's do it. Dale, To Be Hero X, episode 7.
So we get the conclusion of Iso.
Should we? Should we go right into TK?
Okay, you want to go straight to there?
I think so.
Let's do it.
So TK in our Discord for the To Be Hero X forum says the transition between 3D animation and 2D for Yang Chen's new ESO entrance to the fight was amazing to me. I have so many questions. So he has so many questions. We're going to try to answer these questions, even though we don't really know the answers. We're just going to play along with his questions. But he says, why ESO? Why not the other heroes? Did the uncle have something against the old ESO? So now what he's, well, again, you were here for spoiler talk, so you know what we're talking about. He's referring to the fact that it seems like the uncle has been orchestrating this whole thing since the beginning. I thought at the beginning the uncle was ESO, the old ESO, but I was wrong, obviously, because he didn't even have an arm and the uncle did. So I should have put two and two together. That wasn't the case, but
now I did say that you kind of predicted though that the uncle had something to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it when he said, "I'm the reason that you're here," that you even got that. You know what I mean? Because he did say that, but for that to have been in the previous episode hinting at this point where he literally is the reason that we've even gotten this far. It's kind of crazy. You know, we getting that kind of like stacking information. But I do want to know why specifically ESO, because we do have that connection with ESO rescuing Cheng Yang as a kid. And it kind of sucks that he doesn't even recognize him. But then we have this culmination of Cheng Yang having to save or having to confront his savior, so to speak. You know what I mean?
But think about it like this. What if the reason why he was chosen was because he was saved by ESO?
Yeah,
and the way,
embodies
in the way that he was saved, right? So for example, it could have been anybody. Mm-hmm. But if anybody that was put in the same situation as Cheng Yang, where he was soloed, right? Where he had to have, he was soloed. This is a terrible way of putting it. Where he was orphaned.
His family was soloed.
Where he was orphaned by somebody and ESO came and saved him. So like I said, it could have been John, Jack, Jill, or Joe. So I think it doesn't necessarily matter that it was Cheng Yang, but I think that it was because of that, and he had his hero and he looked up to him, that influence can then become what it was, because maybe the uncle knew that the way to take over in this particular case was to do what he planned, essentially, seemingly, had planned all along for it to be.
And the contrast with the idea of justice as well, and having to see that through, because he's saying, but a lot of what he is saying is that ESO isn't quite, the old ESO isn't quite carrying out justice. He's not actually doing what his fans are viewing him as. And that's why his trust value is dropping so much, that he's not doing, he's become stagnant, so to speak. And this new ESO is, in the eyes of the people, doing what they wanted the old ESO to do. That's why he's gaining so much of their trust so quickly and rapidly in this time frame where he was able to, even in the midst of battle, overtake ESO, and even before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. All I know is the fact that ESO killed Moon still makes no sense to me.
Breaks my heart.
But that part don't make any sense. Like, why? What would be the particular reason? Now,
obviously, hopefully, we'll get some story on that eventually. But here's my perspective of it. Right, demonstrated what we've gotten in these 3 episodes with Cheng Yang and ESO. Right, especially leading up to this final episode where he's so like dead set on this like justice, so to speak. Right. And we also know that he has a connection with the Enlightener character, Enlightener.
Whoa. Time out. Something just blew my mind, and I think I just found a plot hole.
Go ahead.
The plot hole I found was that they showed that the uncle was the one that set all this up. Mm-hmm. Why was he still going against ESO? Was it just to take over ESO's mantle so he can then become the justice to revenge?
I think, and I mean, this could still end up being some kind of plot hole, but I think the whole point and the older gentleman, the uncle, kind of doing what he did. I think the point in that was for him to kind of mold Cheng Yang into the kind of Isol that he can control.
Yeah.
And I say that because of the whole revenge tactic, all of that, you know what I mean? Even with him going up to his friend's dad, you know what I mean? Saying, I think I know what it is. I'm just coming to you for help. And saying, this is what I'm going to do. And then this is his greater task into actually taking over the mantle of Isol. And then you look at the fact that at the end, they show that bar where the Isol's ratings, right, the trust score, they merged, and his was even higher than what the original Isol's was to begin with.
Yeah.
So it could have been a point to culminate that into a grander scheme, making it even stronger Isol, so to speak, but one that is also controllable for him, one that he kind of has a better hand on.
Yeah. The reason why I say it's a plot hole is because of the package thing.
Yeah, I think his name is Yan Shu. Yeah, his name is Yan Shu, the older guy.
I don't know. Something didn't feel right there. I mean, I think what you're saying is correct though, just so he can mold him. But it feels like a missing piece of the puzzle because like you did all that to do what? For them to be captured and then buried under some cement? Like I don't. Well, it's if anything,
they can't be exposed, obviously, because that would ruin the whole plot for what they were needed for.
So now he's forever stuck on revenge under the guise of mentoring him to become this top hero of justice,
so to speak. But using the fact that they are unable to be found. Right, we can't find those guys. No one's gonna know where they are because of what he's did, essentially. Right. He can continue to use the concept of like the fact that, and we know how corrupted the trust system and this whole organization is, so to speak. Right. We know that nice wasn't even nice. Right. You know what I mean? So we know that they're willing to mold the perception of others just to get what they need and want. And imagine Yan Shu disclosing that information to Isol. Hey, look, nice Uncle. Isn't even nice. Right. Well, Yan Shu is who he actually is, though.
Yeah, I know. Uncle is a clearer way to describe it.
Okay. So we'll say Uncle. But we also know that, like I said, through the phone, we saw several times the Enlightener was working with Cheng Yang, Isol, the new Isol, through his phone. He was getting information from him through his phone and whatnot. Sure. And the Enlightener had a direct issue with Nice all the way up until Ling Lin changed and no longer decided to be nice. He still had a problem with him. Right. So thus, the Enlightener is saying, look, you guys are clearly not working in the betterment of the world. Thus, now Isol, the new Isol, has a problem with the justice of this situation. I'm not exactly sure on why specifically, because this could just be a representation of saying you had something to do with the death of my friend, and even when it comes, not specifically the Enlightener, because the Enlightener was not specific. It was the guy. What was his name? That got killed. Cheng Yang's friend that got killed. Either way, we get to that point to where he's just viewing them as someone who may have had an attachment to what happened when he was younger, or when he was becoming truly becoming the new Isol, with the friend who had the obscured face and whatnot. Which I think the whole point of the obscured face, to answer TK's question, was to show that he was having a hesitant moment, that he didn't actually like the guy. Thus, he saw the guy as competition to what his true goal was at that point, which was trying to get with the girl, and he kept seeing him as opposition, and he hesitated with that thought in mind, and that's why he was trying to blur him out. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to TK, but that part was obvious. Where my mind is wrapping up into this conversation that we're having right now is the Moon and the Ling convergence, right? Because when you talk about Enlighter, our guy Young Ling Lin. God, this is the Chinese name is gonna fuck me up. But I'm gonna just say Nice for easier conversation. So Nice basically ended Enlighter. So was it Enlighter, or what was his evil name? Whatever he turned his evil name to. Did he coerce the new ESO? Because like you said, they were cool, right? They were tight kind of, because he helped them out with figuring all this out. Did he coerce him into killing Moon? That could be the through line, the thread put that brings that convergence together, because that's what I've been this whole time. I'm gonna be honest with you. That story wrapped up nicely. It was well written. It was pen to pat. It was fire pen to pat. My mind is strictly focused on the convergence of the characters in itself, because when you see the new ESO, he's in the tower already. He's above where Nice is, or wherever the new Lin character is or is going to be. So my thought is, like, what relevance does ESO have, or reason does ESO have to kill Moon? That again, I don't care about shit else. And my only thought process is, and the only through thread put that between those characters is Enlighter.
Yeah.
So maybe Enlighter did some manipulation.
Now we do know that's also the future, right? Where he kills ESO, obviously, or Moon, right?
Yeah,
and I mean,
essentially
like
that's where we are now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like years into the future. Which who knows what happens in between that time. And like you said, with Enlighter to do what he did, that's
the only truth.
I think a lot of it is to expose the injustice within the system. That's what Enlighter does. That's what, even as a hero, that's what his whole thing was. So if he's working with ESO and that's ESO's goal, that could definitely be it.
What if it was just to bring down Ling Lin? And bring him, when I say bring him down, I mean to like take his not his morals, but his just his happiness, to keep him from increasing in the rank.
Possibly.
It's just simple as that.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be To Be Hero X. If we're being fair.
Yeah. I think there's going to be more to it. And I think, and here's the thing. I think that with the idea of there being multiple arcs within this 24 episodes that we're going to get, obviously I feel like they're going to leave us with some cliffhangers to tie them all up.
Yeah, but that's the fun of having this conversation, is to figure out how they tie together.
Yeah. I agree. I'm saying I don't know. And I think that I see that because they did show that there is an overarching villain with the cameras and the eyes and whatnot, because that wasn't directly the Enlightener. That is a whole different evil presence that someone else is manipulating. So putting the eyes on everyone is going to be something specifically that I feel like we're going to start to get. Again, they're just not giving us, because we don't know exactly who that villain is. We only saw him for like 5 seconds.
Less than even, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like a flash, basically. Yeah, that's a good point. I just listen. It's obvious that
they're not even listed here.
It's obvious that we're getting all these backstory on these characters, so they can converge onto a tournament arc of some sort, where they become, or they're trying to become Hero X, right? Which is essentially Ling Lan's creation. Because if you remember the first episode, that was what he was pitching to that boss. But I digress. That's essentially what they're pitching, to become that. And I think that is going to expose how dirty this system is, which could bring down the entire system in itself, because they're going to learn of the different corrupt ways and things that people are moving within this ecosystem. It's going to inevitably bring it all down. It's great though. All right, moving on. What's next on the list?
Summer Pockets, just real quick.
Yeah, please.
I want to talk about it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be quick. I'm just going to say this.
Episode
6.
Episode 6 of Summer Pockets, for those of you who are listening.
I knew this anime was going to break my heart in some way.
Yeah, it's a visual.
Now, was it beautiful? It was absolutely beautiful. And did it still kind of give me a little bit of hope? Yes. But her brother.
Yeah, it was more hope than despair, right? Because it wasn't a Clannad despair, but it was definitely some despair there. Like to know essentially that she's
going to.
Yeah.
Because she's not, we know she's not dead, but she's essentially going to be in she's in a coma now. Like she's not waking up, as far as we know.
Yeah. I'm praying that she's not dead. And by what they mean by the eternal sleep is, I'm praying that they don't correlate that to death. Yeah. I just hope it's a coma that she can eventually come out of. But hard is key. So it's hard to even know.
But I feel like here's exactly what's going to happen, right? I feel like over this summer, they're going to do exactly what they said. Have adventures, rebuild that ship, and sail it for her. I don't think she's coming back, bro. My heart.
Yeah.
No, she probably isn't. She's waking up. But, bro, and I was like, I said I knew this as soon as you said it had anything to do with Clannad or the writers for Clannad. They not letting us breathe on this one, bro.
She's my favorite character, but you know the problem I have?
Mm-hmm. I knew she wasn't alive as soon as I saw that skull bones in her hair.
No, she's alive though.
I mean, I'm saying
she's alive because that's what I'm about to get to.
She is alive, but I know.
Hear me out first. Hear me out first. She talked to Shiroha's dad.
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck was all this? Like it wasn't like she was just a fake or she existed within that world. She interacted with people.
Yeah, but so recently though, you know what I mean? She has been there for years, so to speak, but and I loved how they did this. She essentially was just writing a story about the adventure she wanted to do. And all those people read her story and fell in love with it. They fell in love with the story that she was
her mom
able to write.
Her mom wrote.
Huh?
Her mom wrote.
Oh,
her mom wrote that story. Yeah. Her mom wrote that story and her mom wrote that story, but it was based off of her daughter.
Yeah, but
wanting to go on them adventures.
Okay, because I misinterpreted. I thought that she actually wrote that story, but they fell in love with that story, and that's what was so beautiful about it was that she visualizes herself as being that kind of leader and that kind of person, and to see that all those people culminated and grew and love that story that they wanted to become her friend. I thought that was so endearing. I thought it was beautiful, bro. Especially knowing her circumstances now where we are. It's like, bro, it's even more beautiful.
The fact that we were so sure that he was the kid there, but he wasn't. Mm-hmm. It was the story being told. It was so well done. It's duality, man. They do duality so well. In both Clannad and Angel Beats and in this, where it's just so hard to not be emotionally invested.
Yeah, I'm thinking about them. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm thinking now that I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know anything.
I'm thinking about how they went up in that attic to get that chest. And I'm just like, she wasn't even there. She wasn't even there.
She was there. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so confusing about it, because she was there. She was there.
I know. I understand, but I'm saying that so yes, she was there.
No, you keep saying yes, she was there, like it was a ghost or something that he was dealing with. That wasn't the case. She physically interacted with people. Physically. Yeah. The thing that I'm getting now is that, and here's my gut check, if you will, is that since she physically interacted with people, but she's technically not there, that means nobody's technically there. You understand what I'm saying? So the people that she interacted with, including Shiroha's dad when she went up there in the school uniform to tell them, hey, I know Shiroha, we're friends. Can you tell her to come out? You know what I'm saying? She interacted with the people, which means that if she's not there, then nobody's there, or she was there. You get what I'm trying to say? As confusing as that sounds.
So to speak, this could be them all filling in the story with her.
it could be that the only person that exists on this island is Takahara and his auntie.
Mm-hmm.
And that could just be it. And everything else is a figment of, since it's key, a figment of hopes and dreams of the people of this island. Because that's how far they go.
I hate you.
You know what I mean? Because that's the part that kept blowing my fucking mind. Because I'm like, okay, so if when she was in the cave and they came out and she wasn't there, she's a ghost. Or, lack of a better term. I'm not going to say ghost or spirit or whatever that, the butterfly, astral projection. Yes, that's another good term to use. Whatever that was. But I thought back and I'm like, but she's interacting with people. She's interacting with the little girl who keeps cooking her rice, which at the end of this episode, we saw that she disappeared into dust or whatever that was about. And then she interacted with the dad, Shiroha's dad. So it's like,
okay, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying now? You get where I'm putting down?
Yeah.
Like this, so does that mean nobody technically exists in a sense of what we think?
Yeah, it could be the visual representation of how she's actually interacting with everyone. And like you said, if they don't exist, but yet she's interacting with them all, then this is like a culmination of those interactions, so to speak. But
oh shit,
this gonna be one of the ones.
Wait. Let me get this out before I lose it. What if Tell? Oh my God, Tell. What if the summer incident, the swimming incident, put him in a coma?
Oh, it's not even her.
No. The swimming incident that our main character went through. Put him
they're both in a coma.
Just him in a coma. And he's dreaming of a place of familiarity, which is this island. And he's trying to get his mental back. In this coma, nobody exists. It's all fucking, lack of a better word, the Matrix. And he's trying to get himself back wake up from being in that coma because of that swimming accident that he had during that swim meet or whatever the case may be. He drowned or something, whatever that is. He's brain dead right now or some shit. So,
yes, and hear me out. Now that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Because it makes sense why people are coming in and out.
Yes.
And talking to him. It makes sense why when he was going and talking to his aunt, she's like, I'll talk to you about it later, and never necessarily coming back to specifically those moments.
Mm-hmm.
He is interacting with these people, and
the people are interacting with each other because they can in this particular dreamscape, lack of a better word.
Right. But they tell you when you're in a coma, people have to talk to you for you to break out of it. Mm-hmm. And these are people either they are really his friends, or they're just people who are talking to him and he's imagining. That's crazy, bro. If you got it,
I don't know. I have no idea. I swear to God, I know nothing about this shit. But that is the only thing that can make sense. Because like I said, seeing that little girl disappear at the end, I'm like, okay, so because she was interacting with the little girl, so I'm like, she was definitely physically there. But then at the very end, that little girl, oh, summer's about to be over. It fucking poofs.
Listen to this. The first sentence: Takahara Hayuri never expected summer to feel like a dream.
Oh shit! I just walked away from my computer. Well, I forgot we were recording the podcast. Oh my God! He settles into the island's lost memories and began to surface and finds what he never knew he lost. Oh shit!
You might be onto something, brother. You might be onto something.
Because that's how these fucking key shows go, bro. From Angel Beats to Clannad, they always got some deeper, overarching meaning behind some major incident.
Propane and propane accessories.
Wow, unbelievable. All right, let's get out of here before I fucking lose my mind. I can't wait to hear what Crystal got to say about that one.
Yeah. All
right, what's next?
Kowloon generic romance. You said you had some problems with this one. What was?
I guess problems will be a strong word, right? it wasn't necessarily a problem, but it was the whole explanation of what Kowloon is felt so surface level. It's so simple that it kind of ruined my expectations of what this writing actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, it's just a carbon copy of the people's thoughts of what Kowloon is. Like, that's it. Like, that's all we get. It's a projection of people wanting to escape their realities. Like, it's so basic that I'm like kind of sad about it. I'm not saying it's so basic and kind of sad about it in a way that it's poor. It's a bad show by any stretch. It's great. It's still great, but it's just my expectations was risen by how well it was trickling in information and bringing in information until the last two episodes when it started to seemingly unravel into something a lot more simple than even what I thought it was.
Right.
So I guess I'm letting my overthinking nature of anime, i.e., shows like this, kind of ruin my expectations of what it actually is.
No.
I over expectate it.
Now, here's the thing, right? I think that what we look at here is the concept of what we're looking at is multifaceted, and that's what I'm going to say. Because specifically, the idea that I had was specifically from the previous episodes where he said that there was a difference between the Zirconians and the clones. Now we're talking about Zirconian, clone, and generic. That there's essentially 3 different levels to how they're interpreting what a different person can be. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think that, I could be wrong, but I'm saying I don't think that it's just simply a carbon copy. I think that, yes, the location they're in is a mirage, and it can only be viewed directly as what it is if you know what it is. But if you came to this place and did not know what it was before you came here, right? You did not know that it was supposed to be already destroyed and it's these ruins, then you do see it as what is being projected as, which is a sense on like perspective, right? And you might not ever see the people there as what they are supposed to be, right? Because you talk about the true self. A clone is a 1-to-1. That's what a clone is supposed to be. A clone is an exact copy. There's no differences. Clones is the closest twin as you can get. The Zirconians, to me, from the way they're explained, and like I said, I could be over interpreting this as well.
You are.
The Zirconians to me seem like something that would be it's supposed to be that, but it's an imitation. And then the generic is what it's supposed to be, but I'm assuming the generic is because she does not have the memory, she's considered a generic.
Yeah, so this whole thing is an experimentation for one billionaire man, to get his son back. So the clone aspect of it is for him to clone his son so he can have what he once lost. Clone, erase everything else. There's no more clone talk within the show whatsoever. It ain't about that no more. Okay, the clone is just the clone thing is what this billionaire is trying to do. Okay, then you got the Zirconians, right? The Zirconians are the people of this place who are essentially, again, the generics, and the generics being I guess you would call them maybe Kudo and Gwen. Those would be technically and Yasuki, whatever that guy name is.
Kudo ain't a generic, he's a real thing.
Okay, so he's the real thing. Okay, so let me clarify then. Let me clarify what I mean here. The base, if you will. So Yao Mei, Kudo, and the snake dude, Gwen, they're all bases. Well, I'm using base because I don't have another term for it. I guess I can't use originals. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I can't use generic because generic is used in the context of the show as well, which is pissing me off. But I digress. So again, remove the one guy is this whole thing is him trying to build a clone of his son, an exact copy, like you said, as you described so eloquently, of his son. Again, that's gone. Now you got Zirconians. That is what Orochimaru's name is. Miyuki. That is what Miyuki is actually trying to give his dad. So something that is like his son, but it isn't quite his son, so his dad can suffer, right? He want his dad to suffer because he don't want his dad to be satisfied with getting the exact copy of the son that he once had. He want him to be this generic, or right? Or Zirconian, whatever that case may be.
Okay.
And then this is just my thought process. This is just what I'm thinking. So hear me out. A gut check, if you will. Then you have what Kujirai is I'm thinking she's just a failed version of the experiment of the copy, the cloning.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then that makes her the generic. So because she's a failed version of the copy, that makes her interesting to Miyuki, because again, that's what he's trying to make his father have, not what, instead of the clone that he's trying to make. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's all just this experimentation thing that's going on within this Zen Terra bullshit that I think I'm finding it to be super intriguing, because you have Kudo and you have his generic romance with him trying to be with his fiance again, and understanding that he can't leave this place because she can't leave this place, because then she'll be gone forever because she's actually dead. Like, her being actually dead is so simple, and him staying with her, the girl woman he loved, but that's not actually the woman he loved, is so simple that's where my disappointment lies, right? Everything about this story is wrapping up to be extremely more simple than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more doppelgangers. If you leave, you disappear. If one disappear, like all that shit that was happening within the story that was like kind of interweaving and figurating at the beginning. And then these last 2 episodes of Expedition Jump just made it extremely simple for me.
Yeah.
That's where my quote unquote disappointment, I'm using this for lack of a better term, because this is not disappointment. I'm still thoroughly enjoying the show as one of my favorites this season, easily.
Right.
That's where I'm at. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Does all that make sense?
Yeah. And I think that the way you explained everything is my exact perspective on everything, except you just didn't include the clone idea. Because I think, like I said, I think the only thing I would have added is that the clone is the exact copy. But like you said, everything else is 100% what I agree with. That's exactly what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, because there's only one person that's ever said anything about cloning, and that's Miyuki's dad. Nobody else has said anything about clones. I guess. Well,
Miyuki and the dude with the white hair, they both said something. About
but that was the expedition dump. I'm just talking about in normal conversation. The only person that mentioned clones was the dad, because, and then we found out that he's trying to get his son back, obviously.
Right.
So it's just, like again, it's not. I'm not disappointed. I'm just not as enthusiastic about.
Yeah, excitement's drained a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. Still a great show though to watch, easy show to watch, fun to watch. But I thought it was also very interesting about the pizza man not being able to see Kujirai because she doesn't exist.
Right,
she's not real. She's a printed fucking Zirconian, but that's also very, lack of a better term, generic way of putting this whole thing, because again,
they can touch her, but nobody else can see her. If you can't see her, you can't touch her. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, it feels weird. And if she steps out, she disappears. She just vanished, kapoof.
Right.
Like they did when they showed that example of that old man coming in and one leaving. It's just
when she eating and drinking, is she really eating and drinking?
Does Yao Mei even have on clothes right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, It's weird.
Does it matter?
I know. No, but so what does their house look like? If
It's rubble.
They're technically in rubble. How does that even?
That's what I want to see. I wonder what, and I imagine they're going to show us eventually. But
Yeah,
I wonder
they got to next episode, right?
See the rubble. Like, what does it look like for the people who see the rubble? Like walking through the ruins and whatnot.
Wait, what if it's all real, but the projection is hiding it and making it rubble? There's a projection coming down and making it look like it's rubble, but this place is actually a real mouse, rat in a rat trap, scientific experiment type thing.
Yeah, but I feel like the dude said that, he called it ruins, right? And it could be projection, but he also said that it's scheduled to be.
That was a flashback, though.
Okay, yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
When he delivered the pizza?
No.
That wasn't a flashback. He said this place is about to be.
No,
it has demolition.
It had demolition. The original Kowloon was destroyed already. Yeah.
I don't know why I was interpreting that as him saying it's about to happen, and once it is, well, I guess I know he said that you're not allowed to live here, but they live there anyway.
Right, because it's ruins right now. Nobody's allowed to live in the ruins. It's ruins right now, or whatever. So yeah, what if it's not actually ruins though, and it's all just the projection
hidden that way?
Yeah, they're hiding this city as. That would make more sense to me, because how is y'all made just living there, changing clothes, going to these different restaurants and eating, you know what I'm saying? Like living within amongst these people, but it's actually ruins. How does that make sense?
Yeah, they try and that is weird, because I was thinking the same thing, because they try and explain it as because she didn't know about the ruins before she got there, to her it looked like a regular city, and it's like, I mean, but wouldn't she be walking around and stubbing her toe on rocks that's laying out?
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So it has to be the other way around. It has to be projecting ruins for everybody else, but it's actually, the city is actually there. And then they're using that city as an experiment to print clones and print zirconians and print generics.
And that would make the most sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense than it being a ruin. And yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, all right. It's such a cool show because it evokes these conversations, though. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think it's fantastic. Okay, let's quickly go to Shoshimin, because we can't wrap up without going to Shoshimin. I hate Ansai, and that's the reason why I feel like the regression of character is why it's in the on par with season 1. She fucking stinks. She absolutely stinks, and she stinks because she's narcissistic and.
Osanai?
Osanai. That's what did I say that? I said something else?
You said Ansai, but
my fault. Yeah, my bad. It's 12:30 in the morning. But yeah, I hate her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like her. I think she's regressing when it comes to the writing of the show, and I don't like the conversation they had about getting back together and about her. I'll probably find a better prince, or until I find a better prince. That whole attitude bullshit. I'm disgusted with her. She's still a great written character, because I could look above that on my personal distaste for her attitude and her narcissism, but
she has the exact personality of people I've actually dated before.
Yes, she does.
But smarter. No offense. I try not trying.
No. You don't apologize.
But exact personality type. But the thing is what I find interesting about her and the only thing I kind of agree with was the get back for the overstepping the boundaries kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
But I felt like that was too far. And her way of get back is just like excessive. But yeah,
it's self-indulgent. It's so gross.
Yeah, the whole conversation about because yes, of course you're gonna come in contact with people smarter, and if that's your thing, where you have to be with the smartest person, that's who the person you're gonna care for. If that's who you're gonna be, I don't think you should drag other people in it. If that's what you're gonna do, don't drag other people in it. But
she's not that interesting of a person. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah,
she's just not. So for you to have this Marxist fucking attitude. Get out of my face.
Yeah, and Kobuto, his character is so likable. And I feel like that's intentional, right? They're intentionally making him likable and making her kind of like the douchebag character.
Yes, the yin and the yang.
Right. So like what
But the thing is, in season 1, she was spectacular. She was great.
But that's because we didn't get a full glimpse of her personality. Remember, they were trying to be ordinary. They weren't truly disclosing who they were.
Good point.
Whereas for him, even, it feels like he never really hid who he was, because the whole time while he was being ordinary, he was never really being ordinary. He's being this the whole time. And I feel like even this is the most ordinary we've seen him, because he was trying to be in this relationship, and he was trying to not come off as like looking into necessarily what was going on until he actually came across it, right? And showed that what he was doing. He has been the most ordinary, but also obviously extraordinary. But she hasn't been ordinary at all from the beginning. And I guess that's to her character, but it comes across as, like you said, she does seem very narcissistic
As hell,
very egocentric.
Yep, that's the word I meant to use earlier.
She's not very, and her there is regression in her character in terms of that. But the only thing I could say I genuinely am like I don't like is the fact that 100% I don't like is the fact that she's saying that she wants to be with him solely for the purpose of just waiting until she finds someone better. That's horrible. That makes me want to shoot you in the knee.
Yeah, it's just gross. I don't find her, again, interesting enough, or lack of a better term, attractive enough to even warrant this magnetism that Kobuto has towards her. I think he can get around on his own, but then again, if she ain't causing these situations for him to solve, he's going to be bored, I guess.
And that would be the need, right? That would be the necessity, because he wants to be perceived as normal. And I think, like I said, I think he's only really perceived as normal when he is hiding his actions.
Yep. Do they want to become ordinary anymore?
I would say no.
Yeah, I just think they want to do what they do together. Ugh.
How to become less of a butthole, and how to.
So what do you think about this? What do you think about the girl walking past Kabuto and saying "good job"? What do you think that was about? They sure don't do things for no reason.
Yeah, I think.
Did you miss it?
No, I think that he set up something. I'm not sure exactly what he set up, but I definitely think I don't think he told her everything that he's done, like in that time frame.
No, you know who I'm talking about, right? There was a random girl that walked past Kabuto and said, "Good job," and he turned to look at her like, "Huh?"
That was towards the end, right?
Was it towards the end? Maybe. It could have been in the middle. I think it might have been in the middle.
I thought that was at the end, like closer to the end. But yeah, I was assuming
was that the red purse girl?
Man, I'm gonna have to go check.
Yeah,
because I was thinking. Goodness gracious!
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
we're gonna figure it out.
The intro was fire though. I love that intro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
The whole show is just so gas. Show, there it is. Oh, I forgot. I can't make sure I don't play any sound.
What's the time frame of that?
You said you think it was the end, but ooh, I was quick on the mute.
It wasn't quite at the end.
Somebody said "good job" or something. I want to know exactly what she said, because I think it's God, this show just looks so cinematic.
Nice going. It's at 1443.
Nice going at 1443. Yeah, that's the red purse girl. So does this have to do with his ex? Because he was shocked to hear that. He was at a gasp. So what do you think that was about?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Goodness gracious. Yeah. They don't do that for no reason.
They don't do nothing for no reason.
But he has to have an idea, right? What was said that would lead or put any pieces? I have no idea now.
She was the one that clarified to him that his girl was seeing other people.
Right.
Why would she tell him nice going?
Knowing that he moved on.
Could that be it? No, it wouldn't be just that, right? It's too prominent of a scene for it to be just that. You know? This is the kind of shit that I think about when I watch shows like this. The small details that I know that shows like this don't do for no reason.
Yeah.
Always intrigue me more than the main plot of a show.
Because you know how they do.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Kowloon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's so much that always pop in my head when I see shit like that. I'm like, ugh, why? Why did she do that?
Right. I agree. Because now I have questions.
Well, tell I'm at Polo Born Flower on all social media.
I'm at King Tiliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on everything. And as always, Mike check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?